All righty. Welcome everybody to day 7. Holy moly, we have been on a roll. Hey, Lynn, we have been on a roll. We are in phase 3 of this CUNTY-fy your life process. So first we started off with the 3 C's. Then we went into unfucking yourself and your life. And then today we are into the take note section, okay? But before I go into it, I challenged the attendees yesterday to dig into how they can be more unfuckwithable in their lives, because that was the theme of yesterday. So if anyone had some really good gems come through for how they want to be even more unfuckwithable in their lives, definitely feel free to share if you feel called to share. And I will share first. It dawned on me that we didn't talk about music. And music is a big way that I feel, hey Rosie, that I amp myself up and help myself feel more unfuckwithable. So I have a Cunty coaching playlist on Spotify that I love, and it keeps growing, and I got some Janelle Monáe on there. So definitely just I will drop that, or I'll send it. Actually, I'll send it in the email after, and I will drop the link to my Cunty coaching playlist because it is a vibe. It is a vibe. And if you have any suggestions to add to it, I'm all ears. So music is one. And then another one I wanted to add too was environment. So like, what are you literally putting in your environment? What are you exposing your senses to? What are you looking at on a daily basis? What are you listening to? So I said music, but there's also podcasts. There's inspirational talks. There's like positive vibration things. And then there's negative, right? So what are we putting in our environment? All of these things can either help us feel more unfuckwithable or less, right? So we have to be very mindful with how we're bolstering ourselves and our energy. So if anyone wants to share any like aha moments or anything that came through yesterday if you were reflecting, let me know. If not, we're gonna get into some notable shit today, which is very exciting.
I
Sunny.
just thought of one. As you said, the playlist, I totally have the playlist.
Yes.
And I think about reading like books from people who have done the thing you want to do or people you like
Yes.
admire. And so I always say I love being underestimated just because people don't even see this shit coming.
Yeah.
Um, and I read Arlen Hamilton has a book, I think it's
Yes.
called Dare to Be Underestimated or something like that. And
Okay.
in it, she had a whole section dedicated to her playlist. And so I like I was listening to it as the audio book and I was like, hold on, take note. All of these got to be written. And so the music and the people who are like, oh, they did it, you know?
Yes. I love that. That can literally be the difference. Like the media that we take in can make such a difference whether we believe that we can do it or not. Like really, it can be that stark, that important. So we really have to protect our energy and be mindful of what we're putting in our atmosphere. Thank you for sharing that, Sunny. That is such a good recommendation. Books and audiobooks. I love it. All right. So today we are talking about getting notable. And in preparation for today, because tomorrow is noteworthy. So today is notable and tomorrow is noteworthy. And I'm like, I know someone's going to be confused because I was even confused. I'm like, what is the difference of these two things? They're the same thing, but they're not. They're not. I see it this way. Notable because listen, when I was creating the Cunty model, I was very like, I took my time to really look into each word and figure out what felt the best for me. Okay. So I chose notable to be the N that's in Cunty. Okay. because notable is for you. Noteworthy is how you inspire others. So they're both very important, but I think that if we're going to really embody cuntiness, then we want to show up for ourselves first and do notable shit in our lives. And then by proxy, we're going to inspire other people. But that's why I wanted to start with notable and prioritize that. So let me know if that resonates, if that helps to make sense of it. If that's, yes, Rosie in the IG live saying, love that distinction. Yeah, that's how it came to me this morning, because I was like, how am I going to clarify this? And it was like, boom, that's really what it is. So when I think even more deeply about it, I think notable, since it's for us, it's for yourself, it's an aspirational thing. It's like, what in my life do I aspire? Thank you, Lynn, for the thumbs up. What do I aspire to do in my life? What are some things that are like great or aspirational that I'm excited to do in my life? Whereas noteworthy, that we'll talk more about tomorrow, is more inspirational. So again, another way to distinguish it. So let me know, I'll pause there. Let me know if this resonates and if this makes sense, if we're following, if we're excited to talk more about notable today. Let me know. Fire, love it. Yes. Yes, I've got you all. You're gonna engage. You gotta come and engage with me, okay? I appreciate it. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about when it comes to notable is, actually, I'll tell a little bit of my story with notable. I've always been this person that people kind of like think I'm insane. There's a delicate balance here of like doing things that feel big in my life, but not making them a big deal. Like going for things and believing that I can do it, and just without the second guessing and the stopping myself. I kind of like, I put something in my head and then I just make it happen. Lynn says, you are a nutter. I'm taking that as a compliment, Lynn. Someone put 100 in the Zoom. I love it. But seriously, like I have just done so much shit in my life that once I take a second to stop and pause, I like scratch my head, because I'm like, how did I do that? Like, how did I come up with the audacity to go do that thing? Or how did I like take that risk, right? So a big piece of living a notable life is learning to sit with and accept a certain amount of risk, right? No risk, no reward. I really believe that. So last year, after, the pandemic had kind of eased up, I decided it was time to come to Portugal, especially because my cousin was getting married. So because we had canceled a family trip in the pandemic, we decided we're rescheduling it now. My cousin's getting married. Let's go have a nice family vacation in Portugal. So I came and my parents told me we are moving here full time, because the original plan was they were going to be going back and forth, staying with us back in Canada, coming to Portugal and going back and forth. And they said, we've changed our minds with the pandemic. We're going to be living here full time in Portugal. We'll still come and visit, but we're really going to be full time here. So that was one piece of the puzzle. And then by the second or even third week of the vacation, yes, parents. Yeah, they were onto something, right? They're smart. Val said, I love when people are audacious. It is. It really is. So my partner had to go home to work, And me, the self-employed person that I am, is like, I'm gonna stay for a little bit longer and enjoy all that Portugal has to offer. And it dawned on me one day that I didn't want to leave. Like, I'm sure we all have that feeling. We're on vacation somewhere and we have that feeling of like, there's something here that is like is keeping me from wanting to go home. And sometimes we are like, get me the fuck home. Like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm exhausted. I miss food. Like, no, but Portugal was really the opposite. It was like, I don't want to go home to Canada. And then I got curious about that. And really, there was this shift happening in Portugal where it seemed like there was a lot more modernization happening. There was like youth getting excited about Portugal. There was tourists getting excited about Portugal. It was really having a moment, and I could see that and feel that and witness that while I was here. It was palpable. Even in like rural towns where my parents are from, like you could still see the shift. There were some new businesses popping up. There was exciting things, right? So that kind of got me really, for the first time ever, considering moving here. And there was this like intuitive, like smack in the gut. It was so intense. It was like this gut punch that said, you have to move here. Like your business, your family, and your life they're gonna thrive in Portugal. You gotta move here. And it's like the power of intuition is unreal. I've never felt something so intense like that, but I took it seriously. At first, I like, gaslighted myself and questioned myself. I'm like, I'm actually insane. I think I'm insane. But I went home and this feeling didn't go away. And I told my partner that I wanted to move. And at first he like panicked because he's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean we are literally moving continents? Are you insane? And like starting from scratch in a new place. And I explained everything, and I shared my vision for my business and how I wanted to grow it and how Portugal would help that happen. And little by little, he got more and more excited. And, long story short, we made the move last year. In September, I touched down. So between June and September, we completely uprooted our lives in Canada, got rid of a bunch of stuff that we didn't even need, to be honest. So like, downsized a lot of just stuff that we were holding on to. Hello to everyone joining in the IG live. Got rid of a bunch of stuff and moved to Portugal. So I have to have the caveat that I had the citizenship already. So I had that working for me. Hello, Dr. Kimberly. Thank you for coming in. We're just talking about notable, and I'm sharing my story of how I moved to Portugal. For me, and Val says, hi, everyone on IG. Yes, it's a party. It's a party. So for me, that move was super notable because I listened to my gut. I weighed it out and I didn't overthink it. I just knew that it was going to be powerful, and I just had to trust that and trust that shit, if it doesn't work out, I'll just come back. It's fine. We have the power to try things out. Sometimes we take life so seriously. And yes, like I do take life seriously, but also we have to have some fucking fun with it too. Like we cannot stop ourselves from doing things that we want to do all the time, because it will stifle us and will keep us small and like unexpressed, and the potential that we have can go unmatched, unreached. So for me, that was a notable decision that has really, really, really panned out in my life. So I wanted to share that with you all. And I want to hear now from you in the Zoom room. If there's somebody who wants to come in and share something for them that was notable in their lives. And here on IG, I'm loving the engagement and the fire. You can feel free to drop it in the comment if you want to share something that was notable that you did in your life that made a big difference. Sunny says, I always say life is short if you're enjoying it, but it can be really fucking long if you hate it or if you're bored. Yes. So we want to be not bored. We want to be making the most of this precious life and doing some amazingly cool stuff because we have the privilege, we have the power to do so. So we're not doing anybody any favors if we're saying, oh, like maybe I shouldn't, or if we're questioning ourselves, we're not making use of what we have available to us. And that's, I think we have, a right and a almost like not obligation, but we have these opportunities. So why not use them? It's not fair to just squander them, right? So let me know if anyone wants to share a story of notability in their lives. I'm going to drink water. Come on. I know you all. Okay. If you don't think, okay, someone's gotta have some notable shit. Come on. Sunny.
It's like I pause because I'm like, I want to leave room, but then I'm a talker and I'm always talking. I was telling you earlier that I found like my journal entries since like
Yeah.
2017. And it was really fascinating to see like the journey that I've like taken myself on. But one of the patterns that I noticed was like, this is like something I just do where like you were saying, you're like, why not just do the thing, right? It's like I'm gonna just do it. And so I was looking at this pattern of like um, well, early on, I had like really fucked up credit, right? I was like in this, whatever. And I kept writing for years and years, like, I'm going to be a homeowner by this year. I'm going to be a homeowner by this year. I'm working on my credit. I'm doing all these things. And like, I think someone with poor credit wouldn't see it as like their immediate kind of thing. And I was just like, yeah, why wouldn't I? And everything that I did was like, yeah, why wouldn't I get into grad school after this long? Why wouldn't I? And then it was just like, I was sitting here like, oh my God, bitch, you did all of it, and it was never, like, a question for me, right? It was just like, "Well, why not?" Like, yeah, it's gonna take years, but, like, why wouldn't I do that thing? And so, yes, I've never done the moving thing, though. I can't believe that was just a year ago, right? Did you say September?
Yeah. It's been just
What?
over a year. I know.
What? Wild.
Okay. But
Yeah.
let's just talk about that saying. Thank you, Rosie. See you soon. That question, right? Like, why wouldn't I? Why not me? Because our first, a lot of times our first go-to is, oh, why me? Like, why should I do that? Why should there's no, it shouldn't be me. Like, I can't do that, right? How often do we count ourselves out, right? To flip it and to ask the question, like, but why not? Who says, like, why the fuck not? There's no reason why we can't, do it. Okay, Lynn, see you later. Enjoy Lisbon. Oh my gosh, amazing. So for Lynn, it was opening a Pilates studio. That is notable as fuck, right? So thank you for sharing that, Lynn. Enjoy Lisbon. So thank you for sharing that, Sunny. That's really powerful. I love that question. Why not me? Lynn, do you want to share?
I'm thinking about it. I was kind of going with like also thinking about yesterday's conversation about like unfuckable. I think like one of the most like a noteworthy moment was like I was working in corporate, and I knew since I was like in college that invariably somehow I was going to be working for myself. Like full transparency, I remember like my first therapist as an adult after college. And I think our second session we're talking and he interrupts me to be like, I just need to check in. You do know that you're not meant to be an employee, right? Like you should be your own business owner. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, good, cool. I just wanted to make sure I didn't lead you gently down to realizing half of your happiness is that you're kind of someone who's going to thrive best being your own boss. He left out the massive amounts of stress component of that, but So to that end, in 2012, you know, that conversation's like 2008, right? I'm having that. 2012, I get a master's. We're coming out, we're done with the Great Recession. I've been trying to get fired from my job for like over a year, just so I could get the like unemployment and the severance.
Yeah.
And, you know, and at that time, my manager sat me down. She's like, listen, Tina, your worst day performance is still better than the best day of almost everybody on the team. You're never going to get fired. Like, you don't know how to actually truly underperform in a way that someone would fire you. This and so I realized,
Wow.
okay, I gotta just, if I want out, I've got to like decide to get out. And it just happened that somebody I'd been networking with for a while, who I thought was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And hindsight, they were crazy. And I ended up in business with a like massive narcissist, egomaniac. I'm like, oh, you're my mother and you're underpaying me. Apparently money doesn't solve this. So I'm just adding in these little tangents because this is how I talk, of course. But
Like real.
but like, so she calls me up and she's like, hey, I'm going to launch this incubator space. I need someone who's going to run it for artistic entrepreneurs, do operations, do the events. Also, would you like to teach in my entrepreneurship courses? I had been at this point life coaching privately as well as in my professional job through adult online students. So I was doing train the trainer thing. So this was like all my jam. It was already the direction I was leading. And she's like, I can't pay you much, but I'll cover the cost of your rent. And I was like, okay. And literally, and I had already planned a 2-week trip, taking my best friend for the first time for their first trip to Europe. And so I basically was like, I'm out, put in my 2-week notice and went on this vacation.
Wow.
And just walked away from all forms of stability. Pretty sure my roommate had a heart attack because he was pretty convinced that he was going to be fucked. Everyone in my life was like, what are you doing? And I won't pretend that the road from there on out was anything but like was anything in any shape or form smooth or easy. But it was definitely the most noteworthy moment because I basically gave up all the forms of stability. And I just walked into kind of this idea of you're smart, you're scrappy, you can do a lot, you're resourceful, you'll figure this out. You know, got myself an SBA free business coach, 10/10, recommend to anybody starting out. If you need a business coach and you don't have the money, SBA, great coaches, yeah, mostly white cis old men, but for the most part, they're just there to volunteer their fucking time. So they're probably the most earnest old white cis men. And that was probably one of the most nerd because literally everybody around me lost their shit.
Yeah.
Everyone was like this, all my friends were like happy 9-to-5ers. Like when they looked at risk, this was not anywhere the kind of risk they would do.
Right.
So this was probably like a noteworthy and brave and cunty and unfuckable. And you know,
unfuckwithable. Okay.
Yeah.
Not unfuckable.
Oh, yeah. Unfuckwithable. Like, yeah. I still have some of that. Yeah.
I'm following though. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if I've just tangented off from where this whole point, but I think that like it's probably maybe a good like a little bit of all of it is that would be the moment where on one hand I torpedoed my life, but on the other hand I also like just raised the ground and cleared the like horizon and said, here we go.
I love
it. From here on out, and it's been a lot. Yeah. But also for all the like wins and failures and crashes and burns and climbing and accelerating and rising, like it's notable because I wouldn't go back and change it.
Wow.
You know, and anytime like the last with COVID being threatened, like I felt threatened that I have to go back and work for somebody. Everything in me is like, yeah, but we don't do that. we aren't an employee. Like
The ultimate fire under the butt. I love it. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that story. That is so relatable. I don't know if anyone else can relate, but I can for sure relate to that in so many different ways. And you talked a lot about you hit a lot of different points, but one that was most salient for me that I want to highlight is the people freaking out part, because this happened to me. It happens probably to most entrepreneurs. And it's the last thing we need, to be honest, because we already have to calm our own nervous system down and believe in ourselves and be like borderline delusional about it, right? Because we have no evidence yet that like we can do the thing, right? We just started. So we have to build that evidence. So the literal last thing we need is people around us doubting us and feeding us their worries and their doubts and all of this shit. It's the worst. So I 100% relate, and you rose to the challenge and you've been doing the thing despite all of that, despite all of the people that put their unsolicited advice, like we talked about yesterday, their unsolicited worry, their unsolicited stress and anxiety and doubt, all of those things, even in spite of all that, we're still rising and making it happen. And that is incredibly notable. That is notable as fuck. And I'm so proud because I know each and every one of us have had to deal with this in some shape or form. One way or another, we have to deal with people doubting us and questioning us. So that is absolutely a really important part of what makes something notable. Because if people weren't questioning us, then it probably isn't big enough. It's not a big enough, scary enough, exciting enough endeavor, right? Then it's probably just a normal day at the office, right? So a good indicator of you doing something notable is that people are questioning you and thinking that you're crazy and gaslighting you. Unfortunately. Let me see if I missed anything in the chat. One second. Big moves are always notable. Val moved from Vermont. I'm guessing that's Vermont to California. I feel so bad. I don't know the state codes, but years ago, to get myself through school, have lived in Japan and the Bahamas, and those moves have had huge impacts on my self-reliance. And this year, going through the Hello 7 coaching course and starting my own coaching practice has been a huge shift for me. Absolutely huge, right? And these things have the power to like change us, like on a cellular level, they're changing us. They're changing our brain chemistry. We're just like changing the way that we're going through this world and operating. And that makes it notable. That makes these things so big in our lives. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about, okay, but who cares, right? In a second. Sunny said, I love that he named that immediately. I don't remember what that was about, but that's okay. Flynn, preach, fuck yes, 100%. It's the whole point. It's not easy and you did it anyway. 100%. 100%. Notable things are not meant to be just like easy breezy, because then everyone would do it and it wouldn't be so notable, right? And we are here to do big things, my friends. There's no way you're coming to a cunty party and you're not trying to do big things. It just doesn't work. Val said, today is the day of fire under butts and otherwise. Sunny said, yep, we're not employees. I'm meant to be my own boss. Same. Oh, the therapist. Yes. Thank you, Sunny. The therapist named that. I liked that part too. That was awesome. It's good when we have allies in the journey, right? People that help us get to that point that we want to get to, right? So definitely keep your allies close in your squad, the people that like cheer you on and the people that like fuel you up and push you towards the notable things. Like keep those people close in your squad as well, because those people are gems, right? Sunny, do you want to add something, or are you just, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, especially like when I thought about the therapist, especially because a lot of them will just keep their mouth shuts, right? Like I served that role, and all it took was me telling a couple of my clients, especially when I started my own practice, and they saw me take the risk, right? They saw me go, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm tired of being a therapist. I'm tired of being underpaid. I'm gonna go start this. And then when a few of them came with me, all it took was me saying, Boo, you know you're meant to be an entrepreneur, right? When you gonna start that thing? And then 3 of them did, right? And 2 of
Yes.
them are having, like, great success now, right? And all it took was someone saying, like, come on now, you know you're supposed to do the thing. How lo" like and so sometimes those people, like, in those roles, like, they really need to say something, right? You really need to go, "I see your struggle, you're not meant to do this, like, stay as long as you need to stay, but you and I both know it," right? Because all it takes is one person saying, "I see it in you," because you already see it in yourselves, right? People already know, they just need that permission sometimes.
Yes. And one thing that just occurred to me as you were speaking, Sunny, is like, because you said you just need that one person. And it hit me how fascinating it is that, like, you can have 10 people being like, you can't do it. But the second you have one person to affirm and support you, it like negates the 10 naysayers. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but I really feel that, like, but we have a choice too. We have a choice to lean in that direction, right? Because we could easily just play the numbers game and be like, well, if 10 people say that I can't do it, then the odds are I can't. But if we choose to believe that one person that really, especially if we trust them, right? If we trust that person and they're seeing something and we know we know it. We already know it deep down. We just need that, like, that help to pull it out of us. So powerful. Tina says, yes, agreed. What is the picture? An entrepreneur is someone who will jump off a cliff and assemble a plane on the way down. Oh my God, I love it. That's so true. I love that so much. That's such a good analogy. Thank you for sharing that in the chat, Flynn. Amazing. So, how do we get more notable, and like, why the fuck does it matter? Okay, that's what we're getting into now, because it's all fun and games, it's all exciting, and it's cool to do fun, amazing stuff. But why are we talking about it today? Why do we care? In my framework, I talk about this in 2 different ways. The first way is in the acknowledge. The first pillar, when we acknowledge, is to decide your destiny. And we literally, like I was just kind of alluding to, is we have the power to make decisions about our own destiny. Yes, the universe and external things play a part and have forces, but we also get to decide which ones we're going to align with and what we want. Like, if we know that we want to speak on stages and we want to support people like that and influence people like that, then we have to decide that, because there is very little chance that that's going to happen without you first deciding that it's going to happen, because then you can apply, then you can look for the opportunities, then you can tell people that you're available for a speaking gig, right? But first you have to decide. So if you want to do notable shit in your life, you have to decide it first, that you're open to the kind of notable shit. You don't always have to know exactly what you want. It helps, but you don't have to know exactly what it is, but you have to decide that you're open to it, and you're open to inspiration and to success, and you have to define what those measures are that you are open to. So that's the first thing. The second part where this comes into play is in the activate pillar, the middle pillar of the framework, which is like, create your legacy, build your legacy, right? We throw this word around, but it's really important. Legacy is not only what we want to accomplish in our lives, but it's what we want to leave behind, what we want people to remember of us, what we want them to have of us, what we want to leave behind, whether it's books or impact or foundations or kids, right? Like whatever it is, we have to be so like intentional about the legacy we are building, because that holds so much power. And I don't know if you all know of the nurse who was working in palliative care. Her name was Bronnie Ware. And she is the one who did that study with her patients of like what they regretted on their deathbed and what they're happy that they did, what they regretted. And she wrote a book about that because it's so powerful what the people were saying they wish they did more of. And that gives us so much power, right? So I know that we tend to be scared of death. We tend to, not want to think about it or not want to talk about it a lot because it's scary, but it holds so much power and inspiration for us to be able to decide what we want to do, what we want to leave behind, what we want people to say in our obituary, right? And I know we talked about this in the Tarot Club for Entrepreneurs one time. We were talking about like, listen, if I die, like, make sure someone says something about cunty in my eulogy. Like this is the realness, okay? Because like nothing is guaranteed in our lives, and we have to just go forth and fill our lives and fill the people around us with inspiration and with what we want to be leaving behind and what we want to be known for and what we want to contribute to the world. We have the power to contribute to the well-being of the world and the continuation of the world, the change in the world. Like these things are possible if we keep following our mission and keep following the path. Yes, legacy is huge. Val, I know you have an event coming up about legacy accelerators, so that's exciting. I'm so excited for you. And yeah, so those are the two ways: deciding your destiny and building your legacy. Sunny said, and every day you align with your mission, you have already left a legacy. Absolutely. You are building your legacy day after day. It's like it's a life portfolio. Really what it is like a life portfolio where you are contributing to it. You are deciding what you want to add to it. You are being intentional about it. It's your life's work. It's, I said kids too, because having kids is super notable, right? The parents in the room, Val, I'm looking at you. We know that it's a big deal to bring kids into the world, and that makes the desire to leave a legacy even greater and even stronger, right? So there's so many important like factors that make us reasons why we should do this. And honestly, one of them is like just for the betterment of our communities and our world, right? Because there are so many forces out there that are actively contributing to like the disarray, that if we can step up and decide that we are actively working towards positive legacies, that is so incredibly powerful to combat some of the negative shit that's going on in our world. And Val said, they're exactly why I know I need to consider legacy in general, generational wealth for them. Absolutely. And we see the effects, right? We see the effects of other folks in marginalized, historically marginalized, excluded communities who are building their legacies along the way, right? Arlen Hamilton was mentioned already. Like we are seeing more and more folks creating and building these legacies, and it is paving the way and inspiring. It's like what's that word when something, oh my god, math, when something is, when it's like to the power of, oh my god, this is so embarrassing, I'm having a brain amplifying, compounding, yeah, something along those lines. Like when it's exponentially. Yes, thank you. Go team, go team. Like it's exponentially inspiring people around. And that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow more, is like how we're inspiring others, but also imagine what that's doing for them in their own lives as they are achieving these things, as they are, building their legacy and doing notable shit in their lives. Like imagine because you and I and all of us here, we've done notable shit. And as we continue to do it, imagine how much our mind and our hearts are just going to grow and expand with all of this incredible shit, and how much we're going to want to give back and contribute to the well-being of our communities. It's so powerful, the exponential growth. Thank you. Team, yay. So does anyone want to add any reasons or factors for why it's important to do notable things in life and in business? And it can be general, it can be personal, it's whatever. If you want to share, I will leave some space for that. That's an example for our kids and communities, 100%. 100%. For me, I'm excited to, like, a notable thing for me that I can say is naming my business Cunty Coaching. Okay, like, let's talk about that for a second. I'm so excited to see the word cunt be redefined and reclaimed and used in a way that empowers us, right? And like that feels exciting and like empowers us to do incredible shit and incredible work in the world. That's notable, right? Let's see what Sunny says. We've already fucked up the planet. So much for the next generation. We all got to have the audacity to try and make it better. Yes, yes, yes. So powerful. Our planet is like, it's so precious, and we can't just take it for granted, right? That's been there, done that, right? Humanity has very much taken it for granted. Especially modern society, and it's up to us to now really be mindful and intentional about how we're helping the planet. Thank you, Sunny. So important. So important. And as we grow our missions and our impact and our funds, we can put more funds into initiatives and things that go and fuel our planet in like the best way, right? We can be really intentional about that. The last thing I want to approach is how to do some more notable stuff, right? So the way that there's two ways that I want to just throw out there, and then I'll open up the floor for everybody else to contribute, like how you think you can do notable things. One is creating a vision board. And this is really to show yourself what is possible and what is coming for you as you are sticking to it and sticking to the mission and growing your thing and doing notable things in your life and business. A vision board can be really helpful to remind you what you want to do, right? So it keeps you on track and it keeps you accountable to the things that you want to do. It's not just pretty pictures. It's who do you want to be? How do you want to feel? What do you want to do? What legacy do you want to leave? What are you building? What notable things are you doing along the way that are helping you build this life and this impact? The other thing I want to say is give yourself time to reflect and dream. We don't do this a lot. I know we're busy. We're entrepreneurs. We're building our businesses. We're busy people. But if we can give ourselves just some space to dream and ideate and let the juices just flow and not fill our calendar every minute to the minute, that is so powerful. I know that we love to be productive and time block and get all the things done. And it's also important to have some time to let things settle, let the dust settle, see the effects of what you're doing, let it sink in, witness what you're doing, witness the notable things you're doing, right? Because if you don't give yourself a second to stop and breathe and look around, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss all the cool stuff that you're doing, right? So I love that we had a chance at the beginning to kind of stop and talk a little bit about the notable stuff we're doing in our lives, because it's a really good reminder and a good time to pause and reflect. So if you can add time in that in a way that feels good to you, and a little reminder to yourself to give yourself some of that space and time, will pay off dividends in ways that we don't even know yet, because you might get a divine inspiration of something notable that you want to do. that you never thought about before, right? That just occurred to you. And then, or maybe you saw an opportunity and you were like, no, like, I can't do that. But then you stop for a second and you're like, actually, I really want to do that thing. So super important. Now, before we wrap up, I would love to hear from you all. What are some things you can do to do some more notable things in your life and in your work? Let me know. I'm excited to hear about all the notable things that you have on your horizon and how you can make more time to achieve them, how you can make them reality. We don't have a ton of time, but we have a little bit of time to talk about it. Thinking. Ooh, Val said, I started working with a TEDx coach this week. Wow. Okay. That's notable. That is so notable. Want to do a talk in early to mid 2024. That is so exciting. That is such a perfect example. TED Talks, the literal mission of TED Talks is an idea worth spreading. That is legacy. That is notable. That is incredible. That is incredible. Great job. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm celebrating you. Amazing. Tina, do you want to share?
Yeah, though I feel like that's a tough follow, Rockstar Val. But I think like right now, the most notable thing that I think really that's on my horizon that I'm working on. Like I've got things that are on a list, but I've done no actionable steps towards actually beginning to really materialize. The thing right now is that I am notably stepping into the uncomfortable zone of potentially restructuring my entire like payments client experience for how they will have access to services, and in an endeavor to potentially improve cash flow and increase cash flow just alone with my existing clients, and then better setting up for then what that could look like going forward in 2023, 24. And it'll be kind of an entirely new messaging because it might be an exploration of doing something that's a little bit innovative and not typical for how people are used to joining a dog walking cat care service and how they might like pay for services and what they get for that. So that's probably like, and that'll be a big like undertaking in terms of transitioning clients, and then also all the verbiage that's going to go into trying to really communicate how this is better, but it's going to totally throw a lot of people. And so it's also a high risk where I don't have enough clients coming in as is, and I may struggle for a while alienating prospective clients because they're going to be like, wait, what is this? This is not how my previous dog walker or how other dog walking websites I've gone to are doing it. Exactly. So that might be like, I feel like that's like the most notable thing that is an uncomfortable. It could be a big change. It could be a big positive change. It could totally flounder, but that I'm working on right now.
Amazing. Everybody give it up for Flynn. That is so fucking cunty. I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, I'm lit up. That was amazing. That is so notable. You are thinking about your client experience. You are thinking about your vision. You are thinking about the big picture. Oh my gosh. That is so exciting. I'm so excited for you because it sounds like you are so excited about it. Like I can tell that yeah, of course there's nerves. And like we said, notable things are going to come with nerves. They're going to come with their own fair share of risk and those kinds of things. But the alignment is so there, and the genuine excitement about it and the reasoning behind it and all of it is there. So, oh my God. I'm excited for your clients and your potential clients, because when you said like, yeah, it's going to alienate some people, I'm like, yes, alienate the people. Okay. Like the people that don't want it, alienate them, because they don't want it anyway. Like they don't need your services. There, like you said, there's like a million others. That's cool. You are doing something different. I love that. I get so hyped when I feel that like when people are doing something like, you know, rebellious in a way or like new or innovative, oh, it fires me up so much. Yay. Does anyone else want to share before we hop off the call today? Okay, everyone. I appreciate you so much. I am going to end the Instagram. Yes, Val, we all have to jump. I'm so glad that you were able to join as well. Yes, we are all on the way and we are all CUNTY-fying our lives more and more every day. I'm so grateful to have you all in my world. You all light me up. You all make this experience so much better than if I was just talking at a screen. Like this challenge and the participation has just filled my cup to no end. So thank you. And I'm excited. Tomorrow is day 8. We're getting there. We're doing the thing. I'm so proud of all of you. Keep CUNTY-fying your lives and we will talk tomorrow. Thank you so, so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.